speaker tonight, I've known for a very long time. We grew up together, had the same friends, all growing up. He's only a year younger than me. We went to parties together. We did bad things together, so to speak. But God has moved on my life and has chosen a different path for me as well as Heath. And I thank God for that. He's a great guy. I want to invite you now, Heath, to come on up and to share what God has laid on your heart.
Good evening. How is everyone? Great. Yeah, Zach asked me to come speak last Friday. It was probably a few minutes of pause there. There was probably about 50 because I got bad social anxiety. But you know, what the Bible says, you know, we should always, we're a walking testimony. We need to witness to people. And you know, I've prayed on it. That's something when I went through treatment was I wanted to be a motivational speaker, and I think God is kind of making this come true for me right now. So this might be the first step, you know. But most of y'all, if y'all don't know, my name's Heath Hancock. I'm from Thomasville, Alabama. Some of y'all in there probably know me. Some of y'all don't. I know there's a few of them over here that know me. If y'all do know me, y'all probably know me. I was up in Thomasville. I was a wild one. But I just want to thank y'all for the opportunity for letting me speak, share my testimony with y'all tonight. And if you will, just turn your Bibles to Luke chapter 15. Some of y'all probably know where I'm going with this one, but it's one of my favorite parables in the Bible. And it's something that I can really compare my story with. And so I'd like to share with y'all tonight. Turn to Luke chapter 15, starting in verse 11. Verse 11, and he said, a certain man had 2 sons. And the younger of them said to his father, Father, give him the portion of goods that follow to me. And he divided unto them his living. I'm going to stop right there. Some of y'all, I just want to let y'all know, I was saved at one point in time in my life. Or when I was 16 or 17 years old, I was in church. I went to Thomasville Baptist. And I got saved there. And honestly, I got saved for all the wrong reasons. It was to put on a show. And that's the problem with a lot of churches these days. And I hate to say it, there's a lot of light switch Christians these days, if you just want me to be honest. And it is, you know, there's a lot of people that walk through these doors and they flip that old switch on just to put on a show. And that was me. I really did. I done it for show, and I done it for all the wrong reasons. Move on to verse 13. And not many days after the younger son gathered all together and took his journey into a far country, and there wasted his substance with riotous living. And when he had spent all, there arose a mighty famine in that land, and he began to be in want. And he went and joined himself to a citizen of that country, and he sent him into his fields to feed swine. Now, starting right here, this is where I'm going to start my story at. After I was saved, I kind of moved on. I had a good buddy of mine. He's passed now, but basically, just like his younger son here, I went off, and I had no kind of thing in me. I never wanted to return to God. I had walls up around my heart. Satan basically just dwelled himself in me. I was torn to pieces. And just like the younger son here, you know, I done basically hit my right bottom where I was out in the fields, you know, just like him. And I done made my mind up. I wasn't going back. So starting it off, you know, I started off with alcohol. That was just a normal thing growing up. A lot of kids experience with alcohol. And after I moved to Montgomery after high school. Started off with alcohol. And I started experiencing with other drugs, which is marijuana. You know, marijuana is a gateway drug, and it really is. That's just like getting your foot right there in the door. So, you know, it wasn't too long after the marijuana scene, and we got on up to big time stuff. We got the cocaine, the ecstasy. I mean, it was some pretty hardcore drugs, and I stayed on them drugs for a good little while. And you know, it was at the time I thought I was doing something. I thought I was having fun. You know, but really I wasn't. And then, you know, at this point in time, I kind of run into pills. And being in with pills, I don't know if any of y'all ever taken Lower tabs or not. This is what the pill. That's what I was. I was a pill addict. And that's when the pills come into the scene. And went from going to 1, and from eating 2 or 3 10s at a time, and eventually got up to 5 or 6. Before I knew it, I was getting to where I was eating 10 to 12 at one point in time in my life. And that's not good on your liver, at all, not along with the whiskey on top of it. And so, anyways, I had a girl that came to my life, Brianna, and I hate to say it, you know, I put a lot of abuse to her, and you know, and it was rough. I disrespected my parents a lot. And, you know, I didn't care. When you're in a state of addiction, you just really don't care. You don't care about anything but yourself. You know, and so anyways, after the lower tab scene, it kind of got started to Oxycontins and Opanas, because you eat 10 or 12 pills at one time, that's not good at all. And it got where I was eating my stomach up. So then I moved on up to the shore and those big pills there. But anyways, let's move on to verse 17 to 19. And when he had, and he would fain have filled his belly with the husk that the swine did eat, and no man gave unto him. And when he came to himself, he said, how many hired servants of my father's have bread enough and to spare, and I perish with hunger? You know, after I'd been through my addiction, this is every addict kind of goes through a rock bottom of their own. You know, they realize that, you know, you've had enough, and you know that's what had happened to me. I basically come to realize the magnitude of my addiction, the magnitude of my sins, the magnitude of how I was disrespecting people in my lifetime. And you know, it's sad, but it took losing my family, losing certain people out of my life to realize this. You know, and I hate it, but thank God, you know, that's been, you know, He's helped me through that. Before I'd actually hit a rock bottom, I missed 4 days of work. And I went through basically withdrawals. I couldn't move. I stayed in bed for 4 days. I drank myself to sleep at night. I would eat so many pills and drink so much that actually one night I fell asleep and embedded my face into a big plate of chicken spaghetti, if you want me to be honest. And you know, that was right then I kind of knew that you know, I needed to get help. And so, anyways, that night was the first night in my life that I've ever prayed since I had been to Alzheimer's for badness. I prayed to myself. I don't know what made me pray. I know Brianna has always told me to lean on God. You know, God has big shoulders. You know, He can handle anything. And for some reason, it just hit me that night. And so I prayed that night. I really did. I prayed hard, and I cried on my living room floor, because I don't run out of options. You know, I had nowhere to go. You know, and it got to the point where I could get paid on a Thursday afternoon. Well, Saturday morning, I was broke as a joke. And Monday morning, sometimes I would have to call into work because I could not even make it to work. I had no gas money to get in. I would have to call people, take that day off of work, call people, try to find gas money just to get into work. You know, and I tried to stop them on. You know, it's stopping an addiction of drinking. It's really, it's no hope not unless you have God, not unless you have this book right here to go on. But at that time, you couldn't tell me that. I didn't want nothing to do with this book. And so, you know, I finally called my dad, and I explained to him. The whole time I was thinking my dad was stupid. He didn't know. He knew the whole time. And I didn't know, you know, I mean, and he knew. And the sound of his voice when I told him that night was, it was pretty heartbreaking, because, you know, Dad's a big part of my life. And just to hear his voice when I told him that's something no parent wants to hear their child tell them, is they have an addiction and they need help. But at the same time, he was happy because I was man enough to admit that I had a problem. And that's what it takes, is being man enough to admit you had a problem. And the younger son, in this parable, he admitted. He had admitted, and he had made his mind up that he was going to go back to his father, and he was going to go back and apologize and ask him to be disowned. So if we move on to verse, let's see here, 20 through 23, oh no, 17 through 19. When he came to himself, he said, how many hired service of my father said, bread enough to spare, and I perish with hunger. And I will rise and go to my father, and will say unto him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and before thee, and am no more worthy to be called thy son, and make me as one of thy hired servants. And he arose and came to his father. But when he was yet a great way off, his father saw him and had compassion, and ran and fell on his neck and kissed him. And the son said unto him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and in thy sight, and no more worthy to be called thy son. But the father said to his servants, Bring forth the best robe, and put it on him, and put a ring on his hand, and shoes on his feet, and bring hither the fatted calf, and kill it, and let us eat and be merry. For this my son was dead, and is alive again. He was lost and is found. And they began to be married. I'm going to stop right there. You know, I called my dad, and I had to go into work. Prayer is a powerful thing, you know, it really is. My dad didn't have money to send me to treatment. He didn't have it. I know he didn't. And I told him, you know, you don't need to send me to treatment. I can do this on my own. But a father's love is a father's love. He figured out a way to get the money. How he got it, I'm pretty sure it was a legal way, but, you know, he got the money. So don't go to thinking of it. But he got the money and he got me into treatment. And they told me about the place where it was at. You know, they told me it was kind of like a church, basically. And I went in there and I told them, I said, listen here, I'm going to tell you right now. I said, don't send me nowhere that's faith-based Christian. I ain't studying no Bible. Nuh-uh. I ain't doing it. Oh, son, it's nothing like that. I promise you, it's nothing like that. I said, okay. All right, well, we drive all the way to Bruton, and I'm kicked back over the passenger seat, thinking I'm going to go on a 3-month vacation, drink my last little bit of beer and stuff, just relaxing. And we pulled down that red dirt road. Boy, there were signs with crosses all over the place. And you talk about mad, oh, I was fired up, I was mad. And so we pull on up in there, and we get me checked in, and you know, I think I started sobering up a little bit. I started realizing what was going on, what was fixing to happen, and I think that was one of the biggest turning points right there for me, was seeing my dad cry. And I've seen him cry a few times, but seeing him cry, it broke me down. It broke me down to a bunch of pieces. And I wanted to go. I didn't want to stay. I wanted to go back with him. I just didn't want to stay. And I told him, Dad, I can't do this. This is a faith-based, Christian-based rehab. I don't want no part of this. And I said, let's just go find something else. You know, I said, I'll go put me on Suboxone or something. Look at me and get off this pain medicine. I said, no. He basically told me, he said, son, I love you, to where I'm just going to have to let you stay. I can't take you back. And I love you that much, son. And there wasn't nothing I could do. You know, I made my mind up. I got to go. And so, you know, they explained to me, the director, that they told me, they said, it's no big deal. You know, we don't push the Bible on you or nothing. I said, okay, all right. You know, at this time, I'm still kind of drunk. You know, I don't know, whatever. So I get in first night. I go to bed. It was nighttime when I got there. And I woke up the next morning. They cut the lights on at 6 a.m. in the morning. I only keep my lights on. I'm kicking covers and kicking beds because I'm hot. And so, you know, I'm hungover, of course. You know, and everybody's like, you know, they introduced themselves, wanting to know, you know, hey, you need to get on up. We got this and that. And I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, well, they handed me a schedule. It was like, Brother Chris's Bible study, Brother John's Bible study, all these Bible studies down through there. And honestly, I was cussing. My goodness, I was cussing. And so I went on and I took it like a man, you know, went on through it. After about 2 weeks of it, sweating and stuff, I basically just surrendered. You know, I fought God for 2 weeks. I figured I was going to kick rock sooner or later up that dirt road and go get drunk or high again. But I just, I was tired of fighting. And I really didn't have nowhere to go. My house was gone, my vehicle was gone. I think about the only thing I had was my dog, and it was at my daddy's house. I know he wasn't going to let me come in. And so I finally surrendered. You know, being at that center, they had a sign in the back. Like there where I'd go back there and smoke. A sign all the time said, keep the faith, keep the faith. And I finally decided one night I'm gonna have faith in God. I'm gonna try it out. See, you know, my way got me to where I'm at right now, so why not try God's way for once? I was there at one point in time, but I tried it for all the wrong reasons. Maybe this time I will get the blessings and stuff. And now I'm seeing that sign that day. We was having a Bible study. And it's one of my favorite scriptures. It's Matthew 6:33. A lot of y'all probably know this, you know, first seek ye first his kingdom, and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. And I read that, and I just got to thinking about that, you know. I was like, you know, it hit a spot in me, and I was like, you know, maybe I have to try it. Because that was my problem. I was worried about too many worldly things out there. So I gave it a shot. I blocked everything, every worldly thing, every person out of my head. And that's when I stuck my nose in this Bible. Ever since then, I ain't took my nose out of it. And so we started with that. I went on in and just to let y'all know, this is a non-denominational church, so you can imagine what I've seen. And I don't know if some of y'all have been to Pentecostal churches and stuff. Me not being in the church sing long and seeing the laying of the hands and speaking in tongues, I was freaked out the first few weeks I was there. I never in my life seen such thing. And the whole time I'm thinking, I ain't the one with the pride, and them people right there, the one with the pride. But, you know, they tried to explain to me it was biblical, and the whole time I'm thinking, yeah, all right. Well, they showed it to me, it's biblical, you know. I think a lot of them are just putting show on for it, really. But, anyways, after about 2 or 3 weeks, you know, I was kind of nervous about it because, you know, I grew up as a Jehovah's Witness, and I've done away with that at a young age, and I finally, you know, committed to the Baptist way, the Christian way. And I wrote a preacher while I was in there because I've never seen it like it. I went to a Baptist church. We didn't speak tongues, we didn't lay hands or nothing like that. And I wrote Brother Gary, and I asked about it, and he told me, a preacher once told him, he says, you know, even a cow has enough sense to leave all the briars and get what he needs out of there. And so that's basically what I've done, and I applied that to my treatment. I think about the 3rd or 4th weekend, like I said, I'd surrendered, and I'd recommitted my life to Christ that night. There was a night that I'll never forget it. You know, I've always heard of people talking about having God speak to you, hearing God speak to you, and I didn't know what they meant, but I didn't know if it was in physical form or what, but I felt God pulling on my heart one night, and it was a sensation, it was a feeling that I can't describe to this day. It was like I was being pulled onto that altar, and it was just like a voice in my head that said, you know, you've been running, you've been hiding, it's time to start fighting right now, Heath. And that's what I've done. I started fighting that night, and I recommitted my life. And honestly, that was the best decision of my lifetime that I've ever made to this day. And my life it ain't all peaches and roses and stuff right now, but it's a whole lot better than what it used to be. So anyways, I get on out. I do my thing through treatment. And I kept my walk with the Lord pretty steady in there. And that's when I found God. You know, I was happy. I couldn't have asked for anything else. And my next step was getting out of treatment. I wasn't too sure of how to handle everything because everybody I knew, we all took pills and we was drinking whiskey, and I didn't know what I was going to do because change is something that a lot of people are scared of in life, and especially youth. Change is, especially if it's a Christian way, it's a good change. You should take it. And that was my big deal. And they told me, they said, everybody's changed but you. You just got to find new friends and stuff, and that was my big deal. I knew a few people that were in churches and stuff that I went to school with, but I didn't think that they would ever talk to them because I made so much fun of them in school. I made fun of people who raised their hands while praising and worship God. I really did. And I can't stand it that I done that. It was mean, but I thought those were the losers in school. But honestly, the people that live a good Christian life and walk with God through high school, honestly, those are the coolest people in school. I didn't know it. I thought I was cool in school, but really the people that walk a Christian life, they are the cool people in school. And like I said, I was worried about the change when I got out. Well, when I got out, friends, I deleted my old Facebook account. I deleted it because I knew what was on there. There was messages on there where I messaged people looking for drugs. I just deleted it, and I created a new one. And I prayed to God as soon as I got home that day. I said, you know, Lord, I'm home. I'm back at my homestead now, and I want to do your will now. Show me the way. What do I need to do? Show me friends or something. It wasn't probably 30 minutes after I created a Facebook account, I had some of these Christians start adding me on Facebook. One of them was Brother Darrell Brunson. He preaches up at Tibby Baptist Church. And it was just so weird that he said, you know, he messaged me and said, hey, you know, the Lord has put you on my heart for some ungodly reason. He said, my daughter Rivers is talking about you, but he just put you on my heart, and I just had to message you, let you know if you need anything, I'm here. And right then, you know, that's when I knew that prayer does work. And that verse, Matthew 6:33, does work. If you seek his kingdom and his righteousness, you don't have to worry about nothing else. Just like it says now, if he takes care of the birds in the air, what do we need to worry about? You know, worry is, honestly, is a form of sin. It's basically saying that your problems in life are way more important than God, which they're not. I hate to tell you, you know what I mean? I don't hate to tell you, but, you know, I get mad at them, I'm just being honest. But finding all that, I've had new friends come into my life now. And I've even met people at work. That was my big thing, was work, because I used to go to work high all the time. And actually God has put people in my life at work that are Christians that I never knew were Christians before, because I never took the time out to talk to them. I was too busy running around the job site out there on the bulldozer. I'd be tracking this thing everywhere looking for drugs out there. And I've met people that I talk with all the time about God. And it's a good deal. And don't get me wrong, I don't walk a perfect life still. I still sin to this day. And everyone in this room does. And it's a struggle. My addiction is a struggle. I still struggle with it, but I know with God right here with me, as long as I keep him first, I know he'll take care of me, and he'll get me through it. And you know, like I said, God, he's steadily answering prayers. I have a family that's here now that I basically lost their trust. I had hurt them, done everything wrong to them, lied to them, everything. Even Brianna, no telling how many times I lied to that girl and told her alternator went out in my truck about 10 times that week. She wanted to know where the money was going. Well, she was a woman, I didn't, you know, I knew I could get it over on with it. And, you know, that was the thing before I went to treatment. You know, they didn't want me nowhere around their daughter. They didn't want to see me. I know they were praying for me, because that's what Christians do. You don't hate other Christians, you pray for them. That's what, I mean, it says it right here. And just to kind of show you what God has done, they're here right now with me. And me and Brianna, you know, we're back dating. She told me right before I went into rehab, Heath, I'll never give you a chance ever again. Get through with it. Get on the bottom line. And now that we've got God in between us right now, we've got God in our lives, and things are going a whole lot smoother. They really are. And they have restored me and her daddy and our mom's relationship and our whole family. And even my dad, you know, my dad and my whole family, we all get along great. But, you know, the message is, I just want to let y'all know that there's always hope. I mean, this whole parable says it right here, that no matter what you do, what you've done, God is always sitting right there waiting with open arms to accept you back. No sin is greater than the other. So just quit fighting and just come on back. Really. I mean, there's hope out there. And if anybody in here is, I don't care if it's just one person, like I said, if there's anybody in here that I could help out tonight, I would love to do it. Because I know that would make God happy than anything. I mean, it even talks about the lost sheep right there at the beginning of 15. You know, if anybody suffers with addiction or drinking too much, anything, just please come to me. I will pray over you tonight, and I will do my best to seek and help to find, you know, get the help that you need. I will really do that. And I just want to thank y'all for letting me share what God